You have given a lot of fabulous advice, but what's the best advice that you've ever received?
Well, I received it in a variety of forms, particularly from my father when I was very young. But I mean, he basically, I think, taught me how to live. Not that I did it perfectly or anything like that, but I mean, he was giving me lessons, but he wasn't doing it by preaching to me. He was doing it by example. But basically, well, the biggest lesson, in a sense, I got is...
Welcome to the Mindset Evolution YouTube channel, where you'll find the best videos around the mindset to start creating wealth, abundance, and freedom. Watch the entire video so you get to know the 5 golden rules on how to achieve financial success, and the secret top advice, spoken by the 96 times billionaire, best investor of the 20th century, and living legend Warren Buffett. Rule number 1, saving cash is not a good investment.
When you look at the future, there's also the argument made that this is something that goes with your philosophy today. Get out of cash and get into assets, because we don't know what's going to happen to the dollar.
Well, cash is always a bad investment. I mean, when people said cash is king a year ago, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, cash wasn't producing anything, and it was sure to go down in value over time. On the other hand, you always want to be sure you have enough. I mean, it's like oxygen. You want to be sure it's around, you know, but you don't need to have excessive amounts of it around. And cash, we will always have enough cash around. But anytime we have surplus cash around, I'm unhappy. I mean, I would much rather have good businesses than cash. And we found a chance in the last year, thereabouts, to deploy. We came in with something over $40 billion in cash, right, and we've got about $20 billion now, and we've had some earnings. So we put a lot of cash to work, and I like that. No, I'd much rather own a good business than have cash.
And it is a hedge against the dollar?
Well, you can say all assets are a hedge against the dollar. I mean, but all you know is that the dollar is going to be worth less 10, 20, 30 years from now. I say worth less, not worthless. Right. You want to watch that. But it will be, you know, and that's true of almost every currency that I can think of. The question is how much it depreciates in value. But cash is not a place that.
Now, why is that?
Well,
because the dollar is going to be worth less.
Because we'll print more of them in relation to the amount of goods that are moving. You know, if we dropped $1 million of cash into every household in the United States today, everybody feel very good, except the people that invested in things that were denominated in dollars. And, you know,
exactly.
There will be no tendency toward deflation in this country over time, or in virtually any country.
Tendency toward inflation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Rule number 2, model successful people and organizations.
Who was Ben Graham? He was your primary mentor, model. He was a wonderful man, and he was my professor at Columbia. I read his book when I was 19 at the University of Nebraska, and I'd started investing when I was 11. I started reading about it when I was like 7. So I'd gone through I read every book in the Omaha Public Library that was on by the time I was 12 on investment in the stock market. And I had a lot of fun, but I never really found out, I never got grounded in anything. And it was entertaining, but it wasn't going to be profitable. And then I read Graham's book, The Intelligent Investor, when I was at the University of Nebraska. And that just opened the whole thing up to me. Yeah, and I named my oldest son is named Howard after my dad, Graham Buffett. And he was a marvelous man. Never expected anything from me in return. Ben Graham, in his low teens, looked around and he looked at the people he admired. And he said, you know, I want to be admired, so why don't I just behave like them? And he found there was nothing impossible about behaving like them. And similarly, he did the same thing on the reverse side in terms of getting rid of those qualities.
Rule number 3, read for learning, not for leisure.
I just read and read and read. I probably read 5 to 6 hours a day. I don't read as fast now as when I was younger, but I read 5 daily newspapers. I read a fair number of magazines. I read 10Ks. I read annual reports, and I read a lot of other things too. So I've always enjoyed reading. I love reading biographies.
Rule number 4, you are your most important investment.
Generally speaking, investing in yourself is the best thing you can do. Anything that improves your own talents. Like, nobody can take it away from me. They can run up huge deficits and the dollar can become worth far less. You can have all kinds of things happen. But if you've got talent yourself and you've maximized your talent, you've got a terrific asset. And so that doesn't mean everybody should go to college, but it does mean that any way you find to improve, communication skills are enormously important. I mean, I took a Dale Carnegie course that I paid $100 for, and it was worth a college degree. At least I thought it was. Maybe this interview will convince people otherwise.
Rule number 5. Find your competitive advantage.
The nature of capitalism is that people want to come in and take the castle. Perfectly understandable. I mean, if I'm selling television sets or something, there's going to be 10 other people who can try and sell a better television set. If I have a restaurant here in Omaha, people are going to try and copy my menu and get more parking and take my chef and so on. So capitalism's all about somebody coming and trying to take the castle. Now, what you need is you need a castle that has some durable competitive advantage, some castle that has a moat around it. And that moat, that's one of the best moats in many respects, is to be a low-cost producer. But sometimes the moat is just having more talent. I mean, if you're the heavyweight champion of the world and you keep knocking out people, you've got a competitive advantage as long as you can keep doing it. And it's very profitable if you're the one that happens to be able to do it. If you can turn out great motion pictures, I mean, Steven Spielberg, I mean, he's a fellow to bet on, and it has enormous economic value.
Bonus. Warren's most important advice.
You have given a lot of fabulous advice, but what's the best advice that you've ever received?
Well, I received it in a variety of forms, particularly from my father when I was very young. But I mean, he basically, I think, taught me how to live. Not that I did it perfectly or anything like that, but I mean, he was giving me lessons, but he wasn't doing it by preaching to me. He was doing it by example. But basically, well, the biggest lesson, in a sense, I got is the power of unconditional love. I mean, I think there is no power on earth like unconditional love. And I think that if you offer that to your child, I mean, you're 90% of the way home, and maybe days when you don't feel like it. It's not uncritical love. That's a different animal. But to know you always can come back. I mean, that is huge in life. That takes you a long, long way. And I would say that every parent out there that can extend that to their child at a very young age, it's going to make for a better human being.
And you felt like you got that kind of unconditional love from your dad.
I absolutely did, yeah.
It's a powerful thing.
It is a powerful thing.
Let me know if you think the best way to achieve financial success is it to invest in yourself, or using your cash to invest in a new project. Comment down below. Please subscribe, hit the bell and like the video, so you don't miss any of my amazing videos. Check out the other videos that will help you to evolve your mindset. Cheers.